Sorry, that was strange.
Matthew Perry, Amanda Peet, Stephen Weber, D.L. Hughley, Sarah Paulson, Nathan Cordry, Timothy Busfield, and Bradley Whitford in the most anticipated series this fall.
I have no reason to trust you and every reason not to.
Why?
You work in television.
Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, coming to NBC.
Good evening. This is how we knew her best, from sexy videos of big hit songs. A pop princess who at one time proclaimed she was not that innocent. Lately, though, you're more likely to see Britney Spears like this, in less than flattering pictures with tabloids and magazines raising all kinds of sarcastic questions about her appearance, her marriage, even how she cares for her son. In her quick trip from famous to infamous, the one-time Golden Girl now finds herself accused of everything from being a homewrecker to, even more painful, a bad mom. Up to now, Britney hasn't had much to say, but tonight, in a candid and emotional interview, she answers back. If once she was not that innocent, she now says, back off. She's not perfect, but she's not that guilty either.
I'm very, very blessed, but my safety and my privacy and respect are three things that I feel like are trying to be taken away from me right now. As a mother, I have to speak and I have to say something. Why don't you do something?
The song is called Do Something, and that's just what a defiant Britney Spears is setting out to do tonight, taking on the tabloids. Because after a year of screaming headlines scrutinizing her husband, their marriage, and most stinging of all, her abilities as a mother, she's not just dealing with some bad press, but an image implosion. Oftentimes in my end of the business, we have to beg people to do interviews. And yet it seems as if you're anxious to talk at this particular stage in your life. You've got some things you'd like to address.
I think because I was pregnant, I didn't, with my son, I didn't want to do interviews and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be a little bit private, but I think 90% of the world would agree that the tabloids have kind of gone a little far with me lately, and I think it's time, I do need to speak up a little bit. You try not to respond to trash because that's what it is, but when they've, I think they've crossed the line a little bit.
So Britney is drawing her own line in the sand, taking on what she sees as an overly intrusive and downright dangerous tabloid press. It's just one of many things we discuss in a refreshingly honest, no-holds-barred interview. A pregnant Britney invited us to her California home to talk about it all: her career, her past loves, the state of her marriage, and those now infamous mommy mistakes. You've got this incredible place that you call home, and then you and Kevin have built together. Is it a sanctuary, or at times does it feel a little like a prison?
No, it's a sanctuary. Totally. My dad comes here and he's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm at a resort. It's awesome here. I love it.
Although she seems to still be a sweet southern girl dressed down in casual clothes, chewing gum firmly planted in her mouth, it may surprise you that Britney Spears has become one tough cookie.
I don't allow anybody to change me. I still walk out of my house in rollers. And I take walks. I do not care what people think. And I think that's the thing why they keep on talking, is because they know they can't touch me.
So you have a little bit of a blank you attitude about it now.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you have to. I have to live my life. I have a family now, and I just think it's absurd, to let other people influence the way you live.
Britney is, of course, no stranger to being under the media microscope. The 24-year-old has been in front of the cameras more than half of her young life. We first got to know her as a preteen mouseketeer, along with future boyfriend Justin Timberlake and fellow singing sensation Christina Aguilera on the new Mickey Mouse Club. And then, just 6 years later, she hit the big time. Clad in that now famous schoolgirl uniform, a then 17-year-old Britney Spears became a sensation with Baby One More Time, her first #1 hit. She was not just a pop star, but a phenomenon, selling millions of records and attracting worldwide media attention. But she says the scrutiny she's living with now is a completely different ballgame.
It's not just like how it used to be, where they would just take your picture, give you respect, and then you'd walk by. it's like a scary, they just come out of nowhere. And it's kind of, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, you know. And
Without
that's,
giving anything away, you live in a house that's surrounded by a fence. You have a gate. You've got security, not a person. You've got a detail of people who are here all the time. Without that, you would feel vulnerable here.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I still have helicopters that come twice a day.
Just trying to get a picture of you at the pool or you with
Just
Sean.
anything, yeah. And they put the captions on their magazines, baby in danger and stuff like that, which is really silly, but I wouldn't be in danger if I didn't have like this, you know, this impactful thing around me all the time. And I just feel like the editors, they don't realize that there's not just one magazine, there's other magazines, and they're all paying to get a story. And I think that the energy from the people is it's kind of scary, and like I can't really leave my home right now.
And also scary, in a world built on image, is how all those headlines that Britney has a lousy marriage, that her husband plays around, that she's a bad mother, no matter how untrue, are affecting just how the public sees Britney Spears. Not that she hasn't been down the bumpy road of damage control before. As she transformed herself from the idol of little girls everywhere to a sexier version the boys could like as well, people began to question whether she was an appropriate role model for their kids. And she only added to the controversy by vowing to remain a virgin until marriage, a pledge that was questioned every time a new sexy video was released.
How you feel about all the constant speculation about your virginity and whether you are a virgin or not?
I really wish I would have never said anything to begin with.
Let me ask you if there was a turning point. It seemed for a while you lived a charmed life. You were that blonde little girl that everyone loved, the squeaky clean image, even if every once in a while you kind of sexed it up a little bit and caught people by surprise. And everybody said great things about you. They wanted you to be a role model for their daughter. And then all of a sudden it seemed that the press turned. And they decided that maybe you were someone they wanted to take some shots at.
They like to have the person they pick on. I feel like I'm a target, and I feel like other girls at a certain point in everyone's career, they'll get it.
But when did it happen in your career? Can you look back? Was there an event? Was there something, you know, that you did, you think, that brought it on?
Usually breakups in personal lives, it starts to happen. Look at Jessica Simpson, for instance. They were being so rude to her right now. So her split up with Nick. It's like this whole thing.
She did great. She did great.
Thanks, baby.
Britney says her own breakup with first love Justin Timberlake 4 years ago was the beginning of the end of not only their love affair, but the press's love affair with her. By the time a wounded Justin alluded to a betrayal by Britney in his song Cry Me a River, it was clear Britney Spears was no longer America's sweetheart. Do you think perhaps the breakup with Justin, was that when you started to sense the tide turning a little bit in your life? There were allegations about infidelity. Did that put the spotlight on you in a negative sense?
I do think there was a little shift there, definitely.
And then she gave the tabloids a present wrapped in a big bow, a quickie Vegas wedding to her childhood friend Jason Alexander in January 2004. Almost as quick, the annulment that followed.
Oh, that was just silly.
But do you think that gave the press something to talk about?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Another negative aspect.
Yeah.
She says she now understands that the marriage was an act of rebellion on her part.
I was on the road for a while, and again, I was doing a lot of what I was told instead of what I wanted to really do, and I didn't know how to break out of that. So in my young mind, I'm like, I'm gonna just get married to one of my home friends. You know